Hello and welcome to our review of Cobra Kai Season 1 here at Top of the List. I'm Dom, and I'm here with my co-host Ryan, RB. We're going to be discussing Season 1, now available on Netflix along with Season 2. Ryan just finished his first watch-through of Season 1 of Cobra Kai, and I watched it for the second time, gave it a rewatch along with him, and we just kind of have been discussing it and wanted to put our thoughts on our channel. So, I think we should just start it right off, Ryan, with what were your thoughts on your first watch for Cobra Kai Season 1?
Yeah, I was a huge fan of this show. I remember seeing the promos for the show when it was first coming out on YouTube TV. I didn't know how to feel about it. I'm a huge fan of the Karate Kid. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Great movie, great childhood nostalgia, and I didn't know if I would like something set 30 years in the future with the same actors. Of course, William Zabka and Ralph Macchio. And I gave it a try because they put it on Netflix and because you and your dad had recommended it to me, and I was very pleasantly surprised. I really, really enjoyed this series. I love what they're doing with it. They really pick it up right from where the Karate Kid left off. And, there's some snippets from the Karate Kid Part 2 and the other Karate Kid films, but primarily focusing on the original Karate Kid. And, you get some great backstory to Johnny Lawrence, who is, our antagonist in the Karate Kid. You get some awesome looks into the life of Daniel LaRusso and how his life played out post the All Valley tournament. Really, really a great show. I enjoy it. I'm going to give you a score right now. I give this series an 8.5 out of 10. So a little bit below the film. I don't think it was quite the quality of the film, but still very, very enjoyable.
All right, high praise from you, Ryan, here. So I think maybe should we just try to go through first our positives and then our negatives, or do you want to go vice versa?
No, that sounds great. Let's dive right in.
Okay, so I think.
But before we get going, I want to hear your score.
Oh yeah, my score. I'm kind of hopping back and forth between an 8.5 and a 9. I feel like some of the best moments in this show reach the level of the movie, and I gave the movie a 9, so I kind of want to put them on even ground there in that aspect. But then again, there's a few characters that I think are just kind of like side characters, and they don't add to anything. Kind of like the original movie in some ways too, but I don't know. There's just a few. I think you said it best. There's just a few things they go a little too far into the corny aspect of it,
Yeah.
and that maybe is what knocks it down just a little tiny bit. But it's still great. If you're a fan of Karate Kid, this is a must see. It's
Absolutely.
the best follow up you can possibly get, even better than like the actual Karate Kid 2 and 3. So yeah, I really enjoyed this show. I guess I'll just list off a few of the things that I enjoyed. William Zabka is probably the best part of this show.
Yeah.
His performance is absolutely awesome. He really gives a lot of depth, and I think you mentioned it as one of your favorite parts, Ryan, is they give a lot of background to the characters in this one that we didn't get from the original series. And I like how it fills in those gaps. That's probably one of the best parts for Karate Kid fans of this, is it fills in some of the gaps that maybe questions you had that were unanswered from the original films.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with you there. I love the backstory and getting to see, even though we don't actually see, Johnny and Daniel grow up, we get, from anecdotes that are told either to, Johnny's students at Cobra Kai Dojo or exchange between Johnny and Daniel. We get to hear about how they grew up. We learn a lot about these characters, which we don't necessarily have in Karate Kid. And I think you may have even knocked Karate Kid, if I'm not mistaken, in our review of Karate Kid for that reason, that you didn't really have a backstory for Johnny. He was just kind of this asshole, who was really good at karate. But yeah, no, it's great in the backstory. That's definitely my favorite part of this. And so I would say that. And then, of course, playing on the nostalgic piece, I love that it's the same actors. I mean, I love that it's Ralph Macchio and William Zabka. I love their other cameo performances. Of course, we get, and I'm not remembering the actress's name now, but we get Daniel's mother. She back in this. I love the flashback sequences where we see Pat Morita as Mr. Miyagi,
Right.
where we see Johnny Sensei in Cobra Kai. Of course, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen season 1 yet. We see that he's still around, and he comes back in that big scene in the season finale. Sensei John Cleese, right?
John Kreese, yeah.
Crease. There we go.
Yeah.
So really excited to see where they go with season 2, but definitely that would be my favorite part of the show. Is it definitely plays on the nostalgia piece of the original Karate Kid film, which I love because I love that show, and I love that film, and I love that it picks up right where it left off.
So I kind of been thinking about a few questions that would be good for us to talk about in our review, and one of those would be like, I know you don't like to remember specific episodes, so that's cool if you can't. But I know that there's a lot of great moments in this first season here, a lot of standout moments. Yeah, for me, I kind of categorized it into like there's this one particular episode that I think is really fantastic, and then I think that's episode 5.
Okay.
Which is, kind of the halfway point. It's the turning point for this. And I think that's the episode that ends with Daniel finally putting back the headband back on, if
Yeah.
I'm correct. I'm not sure. I think that's the right episode, right? The number?
I think that's 4 or 5. Yeah. And
Yeah,
then what was powerful, even more powerful about that episode, because I think that's the episode where he goes and visits Mr. Miyagi's grave.
that's what I
And
was
then
going
the
to say.
episode
Yeah,
is dedicated to Pat Morita, who passed
exactly.
away, I want to say 2004, 2005,
I
maybe?
didn't look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he passed away. It was sort of untimely. I think it was like a liver failure or something like that. Gone too soon, definitely, and would have loved to see him involved in a project like this. But
Right.
definitely a powerful sequence there, because I'm sure Pat Morita uh and Ralph Macchio built up a great friendship and relationship when creating these films, because they were
Yeah.
in the Karate Kid 2 and 3 as well together.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like one of my favorite moments. I also want to just point out, I love how the way each episode ends with a huge punch, like kind of gives you a jolt of excitement. Like,
Yeah.
seeing the Daniel put on the headband and do the karate and have the music, the original song play
Hmm.
for him, like that's a big moment. Then the one after that, you find out, I think it's episode 6, where you see Johnny's history with his stepdad and him first coming across the Cobra Kai studio. That's another big standout episode for me. I really feel like maybe, episodes 1, 2, and 3, they're following the formula, kind of building towards what we think we want, and then I think episodes 4 all the way to the finale really deliver well in terms of a lot of surprises, subverting a few expectations, and then, kind of
Yeah.
a bittersweet ending there at the end. But yeah, I think that that whole episode, 5 and 6 in particular, for me are really really great, especially at the end where we get the great is there fear in this dojo, and then he's asking all the students, and we get the big reveal when we finally meet Hawk for the first
Yes.
time, and
Yes.
what a great character. I know he's one of your favorites. He's definitely one of mine.
Oh, absolutely. The transition is unreal. I
Yeah,
remember the first scene we see him. Um, Miguel is sitting down for lunch with Hawk and
Dimitri.
uh, with Dimitri. Thank you. And Hawk won't even say hi. He's so shy. He says, "Yeah, he doesn't talk much." The transition to what kind of character we get with him is awesome.
Yeah, great
I
character
think,
arc.
yeah, definitely. A character in there that I feel like could have just been, sort of a side character, but definitely takes on his own subplot within the story, which I love. He's definitely one of my favorites. I do also want to, and I think this is true of just about every show you watch out there, but give praise to episodes 9 and 10. The season finale and the preseason finale, where we finally get that emotional pull. We have,
Yeah.
Daniel and Johnny finally sort of bonding. They have that great sequence where they're in the bar. Johnny's drinking a beer,
Or
Daniel's having the
even
club soda.
or
Yeah,
like that's cool too, but or even before that, how intense was it when Johnny just shows up on the motorcycle? He's like, "You're at my house now," and they're just like right there. They're about to fight each other,
yeah.
and then the
And
wife
then the
has to
wife
break it
comes in.
up.
Yep. No,
I thought
I
it
think
was a great
it's
part.
great when the son comes out first and he goes, "Whoa, Dad's gonna kick his ass" or something like that. Little
Yeah,
Anthony. Yeah.
for me, he was one of the negatives for me because he's kind of annoying. He's kind of an
I
asshole.
agree. Yeah, and I think we talked about this a lot. Maybe that transitions us nicely into the negatives.
Hmm.
Uh, we had talked about this before. I think one of my big flaws with this film with this series, I'm sorry, is
Hmm.
I really don't like Daniel LaRusso. I
Ah,
think I think he takes Robbie under his wing and sort of raises him as a son, but we so quickly forget that he has his own two kids. And I mean, definitely it seems his daughter Sam, right? Is that
mhm.
correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that he sort of just he gives up on her when she's not interested in karate, but he doesn't even, he seems to just have given up on his son like from minute one in the film. He's just kind of there for comic relief. I mean, I
Pretty
like
much.
some of his snappy one lines. Like there's the scene where they're at the country club and it's the two kids and he's like, my dad owns buildings. Well, my dad owns cars. Well, my dad has more money than your dad. Well, my dad knows karate and can kill your dad. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's funny. That's
Yeah.
great. But we never see like a great moment between Daniel and his son. And yet he has these great bonding moments with Robbie. Like he has no kids and he's like raising Robbie as his own, which kind of didn't sit right with me. It's like you
Hmm.
have no right to judge the parenting of Johnny Lawrence when you don't really have a hold on your own family.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. You're right in that aspect. And but then again, I kind of get that this wasn't. That's not really the point of the show. It's if the show is just a retread of what we saw, where Daniel is the good guy. He's everything he does is the right move, and he's kind of the underdog, and then
But
eventually
is
becomes
he?
victorious.
Is he? I would not say that about Daniel LaRusso's character in this. And I think that,
No, no,
we had discussed.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying exactly is that if it was him just, being the good guy that made all the right decisions like he was when we remember from our nostalgic
Hmm.
memory of the original Karate Kid, they had to mix it up in this season. So that's why I kind of like that aspect that you're kind of calling on, that he has flaws. He makes some wrong decisions. He has some poor judgments, and that's what it's all about. He has to find balance in this. That's what I like a lot about that particular episode 5. It was about him finding balance, and then, you know, that's kind of the main draw of the series too. Is when everything is kind of all out of whack, and like at the end after they bond with the drinking, like you said in that one
Mhm.
episode, they go to the bar and they drive in the Challenger,
Yep.
and then they come back, but Johnny finds out he's been training his own son, Robbie, and then
Right.
Daniel finds out that Robbie is Johnny's son, and there's all that great tension there, and I thought that was really great, and that kind of leads us into the finale. So that's kind of one of the other questions I had for you, Ryan. Let me just give you these two questions here. First of all, what did you think of the finale? How did you feel about the outcome, about the conclusion, the solution to this season? And I also want you to think about maybe while you're talking about the finale, you can remember what's your favorite song from this soundtrack, because there was a lot of great gems on this season.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to think about that second
Yeah.
one. Give it some thought. But I would definitely say, starting off with your question for how I felt in the finale, I mean, the answer is conflicted. And I think
Okay.
that's how the show is supposed to make you feel. You're
Yes.
rooting for Miguel.
Yeah.
Miguel has, sort of had his ass handed to him from the minute he's moved to the valley from
Just like
Riverside.
Daniel.
Yeah, just like Daniel. Absolutely. Now you feel for him, and he's been pushed so far. He's been trained by Johnny, and I think, quite honestly, what he does isn't necessarily wrong. He exploits a weakness that he spotted. But this is once again why I don't necessarily agree with Daniel. I don't think that Miguel did anything wrong in the All Valley tournament to get the beef that Daniel gave to Johnny about training him poorly. I thought he fought a fair fight. He saw a weakness and he exploited it. It was not like the sweep the leg, which was an illegal move in the Karate Kid that we saw Johnny do on Daniel. And it was not like what Hawk did in his semifinal bout, where he goes and blindsides Robbie, and
Yeah.
those are illegal moves.
Right.
And I think that Johnny showed remorse for those. He went and he grabbed his fighter and checked on Robbie. He was sent away by the referee, but I think those were the right things to do. And I think Miguel just fought the way he was taught. I don't think he did anything wrong. And I think Johnny just taught him the way he was taught. You know, I don't think Johnny is necessarily an antagonist in this one, but I'm conflicted because Daniel makes Johnny feel like a dick. And I don't know if
Yeah.
who I side with in this. You're absolutely right. You made a great point to me in this earlier in the show, you know, about balance, and that's what it's all about. I don't think Johnny's in the right. I don't think Daniel's in the right. It's somewhere in the middle, and I'm really excited to see where season 2 goes. That was my other flaw with the show, and I know it's true of most of these series. Series are becoming shorter and shorter. I felt it was too short. I felt there were a lot of storylines I wish that were touched on in season 1 that were not. I wanted to see more of, you know, what happened with Sam and between Sam and Robbie, or Sam and Miguel. I wanted to know more about how Robbie's transition and how he decided to enter the karate tournament on his own, because before that he was sort of just a lone wolf. You know, there were things that I wish were touched on that were not. So I'm really excited to start season 2 this week and figure out where they go with those.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's, hoping that season 2 kind of touches on the strengths that we are pointing out, and, maybe they kind of account for some of the weaknesses as well. So I think we both are kind of on the same wavelength as far as this season goes, giving it a very similar score. Yeah, so 8.5 for you, Ryan, probably an 8.5 for me as well. But definitely we recommend go out and watch this one. What do you think about it being at, number 1 on Netflix for the last week or so? Just because it's gotten a lot of popularity out there.
Yeah, I think Netflix played this perfectly by releasing the first 3 Karate Kid films last month. Get people to reminisce and remember how good those films were, or at least the first one was, and get them excited for this. And I think just about everyone who had watched Karate Kid in their childhood or gave it a first try when it was on Netflix this past month was excited to see this. And YouTube TV a little bit more, I wouldn't say restricted, but not quite as popular as a Netflix. So definitely getting it on Netflix and letting more and more people experience the show was a great move. And really excited to see what season 2 has to bring. And then season 3 coming out soon as well, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. I think they're going to probably be dropping a trailer pretty soon, if not already. I haven't really searched to see if there's a trailer for season 3 yet.
I will answer that last question.
Oh, yeah, I was going to
about
say,
favorite song.
what's your
I was just
favorite song?
thinking about it. I think it was the sequence right at the intro of episode, I want to say 7 or 8. It's I think it's set to Queen's I Want It All, and it's Robbie in the skate park working, and he just keeps on wiping out in this bowl, and you're like, what is this guy doing? I thought he was a great skateboarder and he had great balance, but you see he's trying to get that 2-footed kick. He's trying to balance on the one hand and get the 2-footed kick, which he finally pulls off in that karate sequence. The final karate sequence, the whole All Valley tournament scene is a work of art as well. We talked about how well that was executed in the original Karate Kid film, but that whole sequence is really, really well done.
That's what's really surprising and special about this finale, in my opinion, is that they were actually able to pull it off. They duplicated that kind of excitement that you feel at the end of the original Karate Kid. I had butterflies in my stomach.
More. I want to follow up that there was not. We had connections to more than just one fighter there.
We had feelings
were rooting
for both
Hawk.
sides.
We were rooting for Miguel. We were rooting for why am I forgetting her name? Sam's friend, Alicia. Yeah. So we're
Robbie too, because he's kind of like a comeback.
For Robbie. And we even sort of. I mean, it was a brief moment in character, but the kid from Topanga with the crazy mom, we're even calling him. It was last year's champion,
Xander.
Yes, and I love. We got to end the hatred and the war on hatred.
Let's all have a moment of silence, and then the guy takes the microphone. Yes. Okay, back to the All Valley Finals.
Yes, he was funny too. I like the badass name for a dojo, Cobra Kai, and they come in with the entrance, Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, there's a lot of great moments, and as far as like the music goes, I have to admit I watched a couple episodes of season 2 already, and there's one that tops anything in season 1 so far. It was just the intro to an episode, and it has to do with Johnny's car. That's all I'll say. But it's really freaking awesome, and the music they play is probably the best I've seen in the show so far. But I do have to say that I like whenever they like specifically the cafeteria fight. I feel like that's probably the best orchestrated fight of the of the show. That's not the finale. I mean, the finale is just so incredible.
I mean, that one's great. I also love Robbie with the sort of thugs that he's been working for when they're trying to,
That's good
get him to
too.
help him break into LaRusso automobile. And he goes and he using what Daniel had taught him, it's very defensive. He's not throwing punches like we see Miguel or, hitting them with the tray. And everything is defensive and, letting them come to you, like Daniel reiterates in the All Valley tournament when the final fight with Miguel, just let him come to you. You don't need to attack. Let him come to you and the points will come.
Yeah, and while we're on it, just another couple great Robbie moments. Seeing him train like Daniel trained back in the day, and then Daniel feeling he's like, this is the best part when he's just handing him all the torches. Like, I thought you were gonna teach me karate. What's
Yeah,
all
this
this
is
bullshit about?
bullshit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was really great. And then,
Yeah.
of course, in the finale, probably my favorite Robbie moment was seeing him actually pull off the 1 hand, 2 feet
Yeah.
kick, and that was really
Okay.
awesome.
Awesome scene, but I want to say an even better scene.
Uh-huh.
Miguel, first fight he's in, and he
Oh
goes
my gosh.
train. Oh,
And he
you
looked and
get
like they're just looking right
yep.
at, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're looking at
Yeah.
each other. Johnny and Daniel just looking at each other, and he smirks at him.
Yep.
It's just like
So awesome.
that
The
was so
very first
cool.
move, I'm like, oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm glad you remembered that. That is probably one of the best moments in the show. Okay,
Oh
cool.
yeah, without a doubt.
All right, then. So I think we've said about all we could on this. Like we said, next week we're going to be dropping season 2 as soon as Ryan and I finish season 2 of Cobra Kai. Let you know what we think about that. So watch along with us. We told you about season 1, so go ahead and move right on to season 2 with us, and we'll come back and convene for our thoughts then. Ryan, do you want to talk about any other programming that we have coming up, or do you want to just take us out?
No, I think we'll go season 2 of Cobra Kai. Drop it probably around a week from today. Otherwise, we'll keep keep our nose in the Netflix files and the other streaming services, and come back with more great content for you, the viewers at home. So without further ado, my name's Ryan Barnett, or RB. You can find me on Instagram at RB_the_SID. My co-host Dom. Dom, you want to take us out?
Yeah, I'm Dom. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Dom Gonzalez 48, DOMGONZALES 48. Feel free to contact us on there if you have any constructive criticism or ideas for other episodes we can do. Of course, if you're listening to our podcast on Apple Podcasts or any of the other podcast services, Spotify, Google Podcasts, leave us a nice review, give us 5 stars, maybe even leave a comment if that's available. And of course, on YouTube, you can leave a comment and subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoyed. With that said, see you guys next week. Later.